Inventory planning can be centralized or decentralized or the combination of the two. Now, inventory planning includes techniques of determining the desired level of items, whether raw materials, work in progress, or finished goods, even the safety stock levels. So let's talk more about what is centralized inventory planning. In centralized inventory planning, inventory is pushed to the later parts of supply chain by the channel master or the lead organization in the supply chain. So the later parts of the supply chain do not have a say in what they receive. Everything is done by the channel master. And the channel master mostly tries to replace the inventory that has been sold and account for the trends and seasonality in the demand. As centralized inventory planning is carried out by the channel master, it is cost effective, it has low inventory levels, but at the same time, it has a slow response to the local demand because the information flow from the later part in supply chain to the upper parts of the supply chain takes time. Now, given that channel master has the visibility of the supply chain much better compared to the later parts of the supply chain, the overall inventory levels are low and this method is also cost effective. However, at the same time, it is slow to respond to the local demand. Now let's talk more about decentralized inventory planning. Decentralized inventory planning involves each supply chain stage determining its own inventory requirements and placing orders independently. So of course, the first benefit of this method is the faster response to the customer or local demand. The information is right available with the retailers and they can quickly place the orders. But there are multiple disadvantages with decentralized inventory planning, the one of which is essentially the high inventory levels. Now let's just say that there are two wholesalers serving the same market. They both believe that there is going to be increasing demand and they place huge orders. So although both of them serving the same market, the entire supply chain will end up with high inventory levels. And at the same time, this will lead to bullwhip effect. Bullwhip effect is simply the small fluctuations in demand at the later parts of supply chain leading to higher fluctuations towards the manufacturing end of the supply chain. So from the example that we just spoke of, wherein two wholesalers order heavily just to serve the same market, would eventually ask manufacturer to produce more, and hence the manufacturer would ask the supplier to supply more, and the entire supply chain will have a lot of inventory just because the two wholesalers thought there is a higher demand in a market and they are planning inventory separately. That is why inventory visibility is the most important aspect when it comes to decentralized inventory planning, which essentially means what kind of inventory is available with all the people who are serving the same market. And then what is hybrid inventory planning method? Hybrid simply means that the inventory planning is centralized until a certain point in supply chain, and after that it is decentralized, meaning that retailers can place the orders as they want, but the wholesalers cannot. The manufacturer in this case would plan for the orders at the wholesaler's end, but not for the retailers. That's just one way of hybrid may work. Now, the point at which the centralized and decentralized inventory planning are separated would depend on the supply chain partners deciding on where it needs to be. But as we saw from this discussion, the decentralized inventory planning leads to a lot of bullwhip effect, higher levels of inventory, which is kind of the curse of the supply chain. So nowadays, mostly centralized or hybrid inventory planning is considered of great importance. And most of the supply chains do use centralized or hybrid inventory planning methods. So that's all about inventory planning methodologies for this video. And we also discussed the inventory costs. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in comments or on the Telegram channel or just email me on missioncscp@gmail.com and I will try and answer them. Thank you. And you guys have a lovely day ahead.